I'm April Call, the Executive Director of Communications at University Relations and Enrollment Management, and I'm joined today by Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Mary Ann Reed. We're here at the Creative Arts Center, and we're here to talk about academic transformation. I should note that we are both fully vaccinated. We are following the CDC guidelines by being outside under the canopy, and we are practicing physical distancing, so we don't have to wear our masks. So with all of that out of the way, Mary Ann, thanks for being with us.
Absolutely.
People may have heard the phrase academic transformation, but what does that really mean, and what does that mean at West Virginia University?
Well, thank you, April. So let me begin with a little bit of background. So over the past several years, the university has been engaged in a strategic transformation process. And that is designed to identify new areas of growth and opportunity that will allow us to grow into the future, as well as areas where we can become more efficient. And the whole goal of this, the overarching goal, is to make the university more resilient and to position us for success now and into the future. We face in higher education a number of challenges. We are competing for a fewer number of students. There is declining government support for higher education, as well as some distrust in the public about the value of a college degree. So this is a repositioning effort to help us to address those challenges. In December, President Gee issued a challenge to the academic enterprise to begin a similar process of transformation.
So give us a few details. This work has been underway, so what has already happened? And give us some specifics on that.
Absolutely, April. So since December, we have been gathering a great deal of data from a variety of sources, both internal in terms of looking at things like enrollment trends, external, looking at what the job market is demanding, as well as what students are looking for in their degree programs. We've been working with the Education Advisory Board, which is a higher education consultancy group that has been through this many times, has been giving us guidance on our approach. We've worked with an advisory committee comprised mainly of faculty, as well as our dean's group, to further refine our approach and our process. We've identified 3 areas that we're working on right now. We're saying 3 areas of opportunity. One of those is reviewing all of our academic programs to determine their health, I'm putting that in quotes, in terms of criteria such as enrollment trends, student success factors, and so forth. And through that process, we have identified some potential areas of growth and opportunity, new programs that we could create, as well as programs that may need to be reconfigured or possibly reduced and maybe ultimately sunset. We're also looking at academic restructuring, so some mergers and consolidations that could result in cost savings, but more importantly will allow for further growth opportunities, new programs, new research opportunities, and so forth. And then we're also looking at an area we call academic efficiencies, which is essentially looking at how do we reduce the number of courses that aren't filled. Do we need to increase class size in some instances, particularly with large lecture classes? And do we, how do we ensure that our teaching assignments are equitably distributed across the university? We're also looking at, we have committees that are looking at student success. How do we increase our retention and our persistent and our graduation rates? And we may need to make some institutional investments there. We are looking at our graduate programs and how do we align our resources to strengthen, support and strengthen our R1 mission. And we're also looking at our academic or our faculty rewards and recognition structure.
So that's a lot of information about what you've been working on.
Right.
What are the next steps? What happens from this point forward?
Absolutely, April. So in the next 2 weeks, we will be sharing our findings with the academic deans, and they will then be sharing it with their chairs and presumably with their faculty as well. The timing of this is not ideal. It's the end of the semester and people are really anxious to get out of here, but it has taken this long really to gather and analyze the data, and we've tried to be as thorough as possible. But that will give us and the academic units the summer and the early part of fall to respond to those findings, to tell us if we're missing anything, to add information, and essentially we're identifying areas for deeper level review.
Change is always a little unsettling, and I'm sure you've heard some people say, I don't know about this, I'm a little anxious.
Absolutely.
What would you say to people on campus who maybe are a little anxious about this process?
Well, absolutely. I want to acknowledge that I know there's anxiety. I also know that we're all really exhausted from a very challenging year. And it's inevitable that we change. We have to make ourselves even stronger for the future. But a couple of things. One is that I just want to assure everybody that we are being thorough and thoughtful and as transparent as possible. We are working on an accelerated timeline because the president and the board have stressed the urgency of us developing this approach because the headwinds that we face are very strong. But I also want to say, and I truly believe this, and I know the president believes this, that this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us as an institution to decide who we want to be, where we want to be over the next 10 years. It's also an opportunity for academic units who may have programs that have been identified for further review to reinvent themselves, to look at how do they want to evolve to meet the changing needs of students, as well as the industries and communities we serve. And so I hope that while change is scary, that we embrace that change so that we are in control of our own destiny. Others aren't dictating it for us. And I think if COVID has taught us anything, it's that we are highly adaptive, that we can respond to change, that we are creative, that we are problem solvers, and when we work together, we can solve some of the biggest problems that our university faces.
Marianne, thank you very much. And if you're interested in getting some more information, the Provost Office website has a tab. Just look for academic transformation, and there is a wealth of information there. You can also look for updates in your email, upcoming editions of Mountaineer eNews, and you can always find information about what's happening across campus at enews.wvu.edu.